What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. Appreciate all of our viewers and subscribers. If you're not one of those, make sure you do that now by going and turning on your notification. Click the subscribe button for the YouTube channel. We also have Sooner Surge Unlimited, $4.99 can get you that. If you want part of that, make sure you do that. Appreciate all of our viewers. Here to talk Sooner football, specifically special teams. A lot of things that can make a difference on special teams, and we've seen the Sooners struggle a little bit in that area. So let's get right to it, guys.
Hey, special teams. I know we haven't talked about it other than field goal kicking, really, but this was another example. This game against Kansas, it cost them the game. I'm not saying it was the sole reason, but it had an effect on the game because you look at it early in the game, they went for it because they didn't trust the kicker. Okay, those 3 points could have mattered in the game. Also, chasing points by going for two and they didn't get it. I know that had nothing to do with probably the kicker, but also
That was all what Kansas did. Kansas
okay.
went for two, so OU went for two. It would put you up by
But what
three.
I'm saying is, if you kick the field goal early in the game and get points, you're not chasing them, okay? And then you had the muffed punt that, and I know they got a
It was a
fumble on the
kick.
punt. So
Kick.
what?
Kickoff.
Kickoff.
Yeah,
That's what I meant, kickoff. Sorry, but they got the fumble on the kickoff, so it kind of washed. I get it, but there hasn't been. If you look at the kicking game in general, field goal kicking, kickoff return. There hasn't been anything that's really just, I would say, that's been a great thing for this team.
There's been one. Gavin Freeman had a great return, punt return. Outside of that, Farouk had a pretty good return on one, but it's not been great. Farouk's not been great back there.
A lot of touchbacks, though. So
a lot of touchbacks. The kickoff team, I would say the kickoff team has been great. Schmidt's put it in the end zone a lot, and they've covered pretty well, honestly, that aspect of it. But punting has been better. Yesterday, though, we got to talk about it, guys. Just an absolute blunder. I know the KU guy was acting like he was fair catching that, and plus that they may have wanted to surround him in case he did muff it because there was one earlier. But come on, you've got to have someone with their head up when you're trying to pin him deep to actually succeed in that mission. That was bad.
I don't think it was any sort of a fair catch attempt. I think it was literally him getting out of the way because he knows it's going to go into the end zone or close to it. Get out of the way so it doesn't touch me. And I think it was Jacoby Johnson kind of just stood there with him when if he would have went for it at the goal line, you pin him inside the 5, and that's massive at that point.
It was a great punt.
Yeah, it was a great punt by Elzinga.
And I was saying while the game was live, while the ball was in the air, I was like, what is Jacoby Johnson doing? He's not finding the ball. So it didn't make much sense. And really the punting through the first 6 games was awful. I mean, Josh Blaster, I don't know how many yards.
They got it changed now, though. Elzinga's been great.
Yeah, they found something with Elzinga there. The kicking game has been a struggle all year. I don't think Brent Venables has much faith in Zach Schmidt. He can say he does, but I don't think he does. Because, I mean, I don't know Zach Schmidt's efficiency on the year, but it's probably below 60%.
Hey, I got a question for you. What do you have more faith in right now? Schmidt getting a 35, 40-yard field goal or OU picking up 4th and 4?
Neither.
Yeah, and hey, I'm gonna go to the other side a little bit on the special teams thing with what you brought up, Jay, which is the going for it instead of trusting Schmidt. You put a true serum in every OU fan, they're going for it. Listen, and it's not even, yes, Schmidt's been struggling, but I know Hunter mentioned on the video last week that he'd love to see a drive where OU could get a field goal chance early. I remember that. But here's my point on all this. It was so early in the game, you weren't thinking this was going to come down to a field goal. Come on, guys. This was Kansas. I mean, it was 7-0. Kansas at that point. I wasn't thinking, at least I wasn't, we need 3 here to get back in this game. So I was wanting ODU to go for it. I'm not disappointed that they actually went for that.
I agree, Jeremy. I agree. I thought they should have gone for it. What I'm saying is, if you have a really good kicker there, you're not questioning it. You're kicking it.
I don't know.
If he's been automatic all year, you're kicking it.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think that was a point, regardless of how good Schmidt has been or hasn't been. They're going for it. You're down 7 on Kansas. You're trying to gain momentum in a way by tying the game eventually, and you got to convert on 4th down to be able to do that. I am shocked we went 5 minutes and haven't mentioned the best special teams player on this entire team. It's Peyton Bowen, guys. He's been great on punt blocks. Like he's unreal. Really need him back soon. Not only for special teams, also for defensive, but really in special teams. Bedlam's a game that special teams kind of determines it a lot. There's a lot of big time special teams.
I don't ever remember.
2021.
I remember.
Tyreek Hill.
Do you remember special teams costing OU?
Oklahoma the game in 2021.
Yeah, Eric Gray muffed a punt.
Eric Gray, he muffed that punt on like the 5-yard line. Oklahoma State walked right in and scored next.
You also
That's
had
the reason they lost that game.
You also
that was a big reason, Jim.
You also had
Lincoln Riley's last game.
So
They didn't try.
Oklahoma
They
had
didn't try.
all the momentum at that point.
You also had the fake field goal where OU scored on the fake Munchow, or who was that?
Honeycutt had a touchdown.
Honeycutt is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah,
that was like 2012, 13, somewhere in there. It was a long time ago.
Let's give our special teams grade after the Kansas game, and I'm not talking about for the Kansas game. I want your report card for the year, and viewers, I want you to drop yours in the comment. What grade are you giving OU special teams here after 8 weeks it's been?
I would go average C. And the reason I say that is I think there's been some really good and there's been some not so good. I think the field goal kicking game drops it way down. Okay. And then I think the punt blocks and what they've done on that has been great. I just think it evens out to about average. Nothing that's changed the game. Now, the punt block, you could say it changed the game, but they dominated that game anyway. So nothing that's really, to me, helped it to win the game, I would say.
One of the blocks, they didn't dominate the game. That was against SMU, one of the punt blocks.
Well, that's true.
He had the easiest score of his whole career, and he found it back in the end zone.
So I say C.
For me, I'm giving it a D. I think that this special teams, it almost cost Oklahoma the game against UCF. It could have costed them the game against Texas if it wasn't for that drive at the end. That really Dylan Gabriel, the play of his whole career on that. And then, versus Kansas, there's maybe some debate that special teams, that muff kick could have potentially cost them the game. So, it's like the special teams has hurt them more than it's helped them this year. So that's why I'm giving it a D.
Hunter?
Yeah, I'll go with you. A D. The kicking game is, I would say, D- or an F. Field goal kicking. This is University of Oklahoma. You got to make your kicks. Again, another year where kicking is a problem for the Sooners. That shouldn't happen at a blue blood program. You never see. It's not often you see Alabama struggling with field goal.
Oh,
kicks.
Every year they're bad at kicking.
Sometimes, but right now they're great. That's possibly the best part of their team.
Right now.
Yeah, it's just a lot of programs are very good at kicking. Georgia was one too that was very good for a few years, and it hasn't been that way at OU. That's inexcusable. The punting game was not good for the first 6 weeks. It was not. There was a lot of talk on still they were unsure. I think it was at one point said 3 weeks maybe to figure out who the punter is going to be between Plaster and Elzinga. And you look at Elzinga right now, why wasn't he the starter from day one? I don't see how he was beat out in camp at that position. You look at the kick return game, it has not been good. Farouk fumbled one against Tulsa. It ended up not being a big deal because it was Tulsa, but he fumbled. And that was after a massive return. You cannot do that. You have a momentum swing play to open the game, a 50-yard return, then you fumble it. And then this last week, you have the fumble in the rain against Kansas, which Kansas didn't score, but still, you got a kick given to you from Kansas fumbling, and then you fumble yourself later on in the game. You can't do that. Punt block has been great. Like I said, Peyton Bowen has been fantastic when he's playing. He's one of the best punt blockers I've seen. The punt return game has been pretty solid as well, with Gavin Freeman having that big time return against Arkansas State.
Yeah, and hey, at some point you got to give someone else a chance running kicks back. It's not like they're short of athletes down there in Norman.
Brendan Thompson, I want to see him back.
And the
Yeah, I
other
would
thing
like Brendan
is,
Thompson.
OU has fixed the punting issues. Elzinga has been phenomenal, and OU's been great in special teams the last few years with Turk and Burkick, and it's not like they've been in dire need. But I'm going to give them a C as well, because I know of 3 plays off the top of my head where the opposing team tried trickery, and it did not fool OU on the kick coverage.
The
I think
coverage has
OU's
been great all year, pretty much.
Yeah.
Kick coverage has
Yeah.
been great, so
You're
I've got to
right.
give kudos on that. But we had a special teams guy, Cole Moose from Kansas, on last week, and he made a statement. I'm going to leave it at this with the video. He said, the only way they should know your name is if you mess up. And unfortunately, that's what's happening some at OU. Guys aren't doing their one job. Guys aren't doing what they're supposed to do. We heard BV say it in the post game: details, details, details. And the one area where that is so true is special teams, especially. OU's got to be better. Let's hope they are as this season, as we get into championship November. Special teams could make or break OU getting to the Big 12 title game or not. Make sure you guys are part of what's happening on the Sooner Surge. Drop us your grade report here in the comment section. Till next time, boys. Boomer.